who's actually going to get the most out of a mini wine refrigerator? Is it a smart add-in for a casual home bar, or just another gadget that takes up countertop space for people who barely open a bottle a month? And for the everyday buyer who's watching the price tag, does the convenience of a compact cooler outweigh the trade-offs you get compared with a larger unit? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. If you've ever stood in front of a kitchen cabinet, eyeing a half-full wine rack and thought, I wish there was a way to keep these at the right temperature without sacrificing my pantry space, you're not alone. The hesitation usually comes from two angles. First, the fear of buying a cooler that sounds impressive on paper but turns out to be noisy, unreliable, or simply too small to be useful. Second, the worry that you'll spend money on a one-size-fits-all appliance that doesn't actually fit your lifestyle. That's why I dug into the specifics of this mini wine refrigerator, looking at how it behaves in real homes, what the day-to-day experience is like, and where the value really lives beyond the glossy marketing copy. Let's start with the basics that matter once you actually plug it in. This unit is built to hold anywhere from 5 to 18 standard bottles, thanks to adjustable shelving that slides in 2-inch increments. That flexibility is more than a marketing gimmick. It means you can start with a few reds for a dinner party and later reconfigure the interior to fit a mix of whites, Ross, or even a couple of champagne bottles without having to buy a new fridge. The compact footprint, about the size of a small microwave, lets you slip it onto a countertop, under a bar, or even on a kitchen island without crowding the workspace. For anyone living in an apartment or a modest house where space is premium, the design choice feels intentional rather than an afterthought. The quiet operation is another practical point that often gets lost in the hype. The manufacturer touts whisper quiet performance, and in my test run the unit ran at a level you'd barely notice over normal kitchen chatter. I placed it next to a coffee maker and a dishwasher, and there was no audible hum that would disturb a movie night or a casual conversation. That matters because a noisy compressor can become a daily annoyance, especially if the fridge is sitting near a dining table or a home office. One of the selling points that actually made a difference in my use case is the triple-layer U-shielding door. Wine, especially lighter whites and delicate reds, can degrade when exposed to direct sunlight, and the UV-blocking glass helps protect the contents from that invisible enemy. I positioned the fridge on a windowsill that gets morning sun, and after a week of leaving the door open just a few seconds each night, there were no signs of light-induced spoilage. For anyone who values the subtle flavors of a bottle over the long term, that shield is a quiet win. Now, the real question is whether the unit's performance justifies the cost for a typical buyer. The temperature range is designed for optimal wine storage, which in practice means it keeps the interior at a steady 55°F to 58°F when set correctly. That's a sweet spot for most table wines, but it's not a precise temperature control lab. If you're a collector who needs separate zones for reds, whites, and sparkling, or if you're storing high-end bottles that demand exact humidity levels, you'll likely feel the limitations. The thermostat is a simple dial, easy to use, but without a digital readout you can't see the exact temperature at a glance. In practice, the unit held temperature within a degree or two after the initial cooldown, which is fine for everyday drinking but might not satisfy a connoisseur's exacting standards. The biggest practical weakness shows up when you try to stretch the capacity to its max. 18 bottles fill the interior tightly, and the adjustable shelves, while handy, can become a bit cramped if you load every slot. In that scenario, you might find it harder to pull a bottle out without nudging its neighbor. For a small gathering, that's manageable, but if you regularly entertain larger groups and need quick, hassle-free access, a larger fridge with more generous door swing and deeper shelves would be more practical. Another subtle trade-off is the lack of a built-in lock. If you live with kids, roommates, or pets that might tamper with the door, you'll need to think about an external lock solution. It's not a deal-breaker for most adults, but it's something to keep in mind if you're looking for a secure storage option. So, who should actually consider buying this mini wine cooler? If you're a casual wine enthusiast who enjoys having a few bottles on hand for dinner, a small home bar, or a kitchen countertop that doubles as a decorative piece, the unit hits the sweet spot. Its adjustable shelves let you customize the space, the UV-shielded door protects your wine from light, and the near-silent operation